What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at another deck that's gone and won a Keyforge Vault Tour. You see, this past weekend we had a Vault Tour over in Texas, over at Fort Worth, and we did see a win for the deck, Bird of Vapidopolis Den. Congratulations to Laura Darley for piloting that to victory, and shout out to Archon Arcana for making it easy to find the winning deck. So what do we see here? Well, we got a logo Saurian Untamed deck, which as far as I'm concerned, that is one of my favourite combinations of houses possible in Worlds Collide. I still miss Mars, but we don't have Mars right now, so there's no point worrying about it. Well, what do we see? Well, there's a couple of things that should jump out as soon as you look. First of all, let's start off with logos. We got 2 copies of Eddie. When you play it, you archive a card, and your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each card in your archives. So if you can build up enough cards in your archives, great news, your opponent's cards cost a lot. But remember that Eddie stacks. So if you've got 2 cards in your archive but 2 Eddies on the board, your opponent's keys are costing +4 amber. Yeah, 2 Eddies are quite a lot better than 1. The downside is there's no other archiving in this deck. There's no other way to build up an archive. It is very literally Eddie or bust, but that's alright. You've still got your Eddies, and you can still play them and keep going and keep cards in your archive and basically recycle Eddie. Your opponent, I mean, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either your opponent takes down Eddie, keep the cards in your archive, find Eddie again, play it again, boom, or they don't take down Eddie and their keys cost a bit more. That sounds fun. Now, we really do need a way to protect Eddie if we don't want to loop it. We've got Hologramophone, and we love it. Hologramophone is awesome. It is a great card that we are huge fans of, and this one is brilliant. Go Hologramophone. It is an artifact that just lets you ward a creature, and obviously what you really want to do here is ward Eddie as much as you can. Ward means that if it would be damaged, destroyed, or removed from play, you get rid of the ward counter, but it stays around. Now, we've also got a fair bit of draw here, which we would usually expect. Babbling Bibliophile, card I love. Well, when you reap, you draw 2 cards, but it's also a 1-power creature, no skirmish, no elusive. Literally couldn't be weaker. We've got Candle Unit that lets you draw a card every time your opponent does a reap. So that's gonna build up pretty gosh darned quickly. Again, it's one that your opponent's going to want to take off the board, but there's only so many they can go after the second that it hits the board. We've got Igor, which is not traditional draw, but it lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 in your hand, and discard the other 2. So you draw 1 of the top 3 cards in your deck. It's not bad. Like, as far as starts go, it's not too bad at all. We've got Hapsis. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting it, you ward Hapsis, and then draw yourself a card. And actually, this all adds up pretty nicely. It's not absolutely over the top stunning, but it's a decent amount of draw, and draw makes decks better. Now, elsewhere in logos, we've got Thorium Plasmate, gives you an amber bonus, lets you move an enemy creature elsewhere on its battlefield, and then deal 2 damage to it for each neighbour it shares a house with now, which is kind of mean. If you want more cheeky damage, how about Twin Bolt Emission, gives you an amber bonus, and you deal 2 damage to each of 2 creatures. It's nice cheeky damage. It's going to help you out. We've then also got Mini Group Think Tank, 3 power, 2 armor. When you play or fight or reap, you deal 8 damage to a creature that shares a house with 2 of its neighbours. Bearing in mind you can use Thorium Plasmate to move a creature to hopefully make it share a house with each of its neighbours. So really good cheeky damage going on here. We've then got Reassembling Automaton, 3 power, 0 armor. If it is destroyed and you have any other creatures in play, you heal it, exhaust it, and move it to a flank. Doesn't work if it's the only creature you've got left, but as long as it isn't, it's kind of immortal. Having immortal creatures is good. And then Titan Guardian, 5 power, 1 armor, and it's got taunt, so you cannot attack its neighbours, you have to attack it. And if it is destroyed while not on a flank, you get to draw 2 cards. Oh look, it's a little bit more draw. So what we see in the logo suite is we've got a bunch of draw, and we've got a bunch of cheeky damage, and we've got 2 copies of Eddie. Nice. Now, the Saurian suite here makes me very happy. One of the first things that jumps up to me, we got Retor Gallim, which increases the cost of your opponent's keys by 3 when you play it. And if you're willing to exalt Retor Gallim when you reap, you also increase the cost of their keys by 3. Which is really big, of course, because when you combine that with Eddie, your opponent is going to have a really difficult time forging keys. Now, exalting says that you have to put an amber on it from the common pool. General rule, of course, being that when you get destroyed, any amber on the creature goes to the other player. So you're basically putting an amber on a creature that your opponent's going to get when they destroy the creature. But there are 2 cards in this Saurian suite which make exalting fun. First of all, Primus Unguis. 5 power, 1 armor, and when you reap, you have to exalt it, which sounds bad, but each friendly creature gets +2 power for each amber on Primus Unguis. Well, that's pretty good. Now when you're exalting, you're building up super powerful creatures, but your opponent's still getting the amber when they destroy the creature. Well, no, they're not. Not if you can get Praefectus Ludo into play. You see, Praefectus Ludo says 5 power, 0 armor. Each other friendly creature gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply, which means that all of those creatures with amber on, rather than losing the amber when they get destroyed, the amber just goes to the common supply, so they still lose it. Let's be clear, they still lose it, but they don't lose it to the opponent, they lose it to the common supply. Yeah, I'm kind of alright with this. We also have Chant of Hubris. Now, it's not quite the silver bullet answer that Praefectus Ludo is, but Chant of Hubris gives you an amber bonus and lets you move an amber from a creature to another creature. So basically, I mean, you could use it to buff up a creature using Primus Unguis, but generally you exalt, oh no, I've got an amber on this creature that I don't want on there. Move it to one of your opponent's creatures, destroy them, get the amber yourself. Yes. Now, Regrettable Meteor is just garbage. It's not great. You destroy each dinosaur creature and each creature with power 6 or higher. Yes, there will be times in games where you have none of those types of creatures on the board and your opponent has many, but all of your Saurian Republic creatures are dinosaurs, which means they will all go down when you play this. Yeah, not great. Be honest with you, not great. But we do like Tribute. Gives you an amber bonus, and the most powerful friendly creature captures 2 amber, and you may exalt the creature to repeat the preceding effect. Which means they're now going to have 5 amber on, which means that when you combine that with Primus Unguis, you are going to have a ridiculously powerful creature. And of course, if you're capturing, but you've got Praefectus Ludo out, then your opponent doesn't get their amber back. You capture it, i.e. you take it from them, they destroy you, but instead of getting the amber back, it goes to the common pool. That's kind of hilarious. For you. We've then actually, while we're talking capturing, we got 3 copies of Pharaoh Centurion. 6 power, 1 armor, so it starts off as a pretty beefy creature, and when you play or fight, you capture an amber. And now we're starting to see a really good combo going in. If you can get Eddie on the field and keep it there, and you can be reaping with Retor Gallim, with all of this capturing amber, your opponent's keys cost lots of amber, but you're taking a lot of their amber. It's going to take a lot for your opponent to actually forge a key here. And then to finish off with Saurian, we got 1 copy of Draco Praco, 4 power, 0 armor. When you reap, you may exalt Draco Praco to enrage a creature, or every creature, from a particular house. Enrage says that the next time they're used, if there is a valid target, they must fight, i.e. not reap or use an action. And then you take away the rage counter. You might be able to catch a house off guard here, forcing them to fight, and if you've built up your creatures enough with enough shared amber and Primus Unguis, you might even force them into fights that they can't win. And then 2 copies of Areta Hisaro. I love this. 3 power, 0 armor with deploy, so you can put it anywhere you like on the battlefield. It doesn't have to go down on a flank. And then when you play it, you ready and exalt each of its neighbours, and for the remainder of the turn they belong to House Saurian. So basically, you get to ready and use 2 creatures that are not of the Saurian Republic, as long as you've got 2 creatures next to each other that aren't Saurian. Even if they are, reuse them. It says ready and exalt each of their neighbours. Well, okay, ready a Saurian creature, then use it again. You either get to use creatures out of house or reuse creatures you've already used this turn. Either way, I'm kind of in favour of that, and there's 2 of them. Now, moving into Untamed, there is one card that should jump out to you as it jumped out to me. It's Keycharge. There is a copy of Keycharge here, which means that you lose an amber and then you forge in a key at current cost. It's a key cheating card. Now, we don't have the Call of the Archon style ridiculous amber generation in Untamed here. But what we do have is a key cheating card. If you get enough amber on the board, you can still forge here. If you get a bunch of untamed creatures out, you can still reap and forge here. As a side note, it's one of only 8 actions in the deck. The deck's got 8 actions, 1 artifact, 27 creatures. So we might not have many of these great tricks to gain amber in Untamed, but we've got 9 untamed creatures. If you reap with 7 of them, assuming you had 0 amber to begin with, you can key charge, which means you can forge a key to start your turn, reap multiple times, and then key charge. You're not always going to be allowed to. Your opponent's going to go after your creatures, but there's going to be games where that works. Now, outside of that, we do have Nature's Call, gives you an amber bonus, and returns up to 3 creatures to their owner's hand. So you could use this to, for instance, put an Eddy in your hand to replay it next turn for some extra archiving. Although that would take it off for 1 turn if your opponent was able to forge a key, but just use it when they're not in a position to forge. There, done, sorted. Or you can just get your opponent's creatures off the board if they're annoying you. Or you can reuse coming into play abilities like Orator Hisaro. It's a very good card. And then Unnatural Selection gives you an amber bonus. You choose 3 friendly creatures and 3 enemy creatures and destroy each other creature. I know, right? That one could really be good. Keep that one in mind. Just keep that one in mind. In terms of creatures, we've got Bramble Lynx, 3 power, 0 armor with Skirmish. That is to say that if you use it, to fight, it's not taking any damage back. If you start the fight, you don't take any damage. And if you've already reaped this turn, you enter play ready to fight or reap. That's kind of cool. Gebuk, 5 power, 0 armor. When it's destroyed, you discard the top card of your deck. If it is a creature, after Gebuk leaves play, you put that creature into play in Gebuk's position in the battle line. So basically means that when Gebuk goes down, you get a new creature in its place. Yeah, it's nice to have something to show for having your creature destroyed. Imprinted Murmook makes your keys cost 1 less. Well, gee whiz, that sounds like a fun combo with Key Charge. And it's kind of a mick take that when you're playing stuff like Eddy and Retal Gallim to increase the cost of your opponent's keys, you're then making your keys cost less. Mab the Mad is a 2 power 0 armor creature that gives you an amber bonus. Great combo here with Unnatural Selection, because you just pick it up and replay it. And when you reap, you shuffle Mab the Mad into your deck. You really do, as much as possible, want to use this with Unnatural Selection to get just that amber bonus again. Molfin is a 3 power creature with no armor and hazardous free. That is to say, if you want to attack it, you've got to take 3 damage before the attack happens. And after amber is stolen from you, you deal 1 damage to each enemy creature for each amber stolen. So if your opponent were to play something like a Ronnie Wristclocks to steal 2 amber, you would then deal 2 damage to each of your opponent's creatures. It's a very, very nice anti-stealing card. One of my favourites, in fact. We've then got Pampaka Anger. You put it on the right of your battle line. No, you put it on the left of your battle line, and all the creatures to the right get +2 power. Remember, you're already bumping power significantly with Primus Unguis. You could get some redonkulous creatures going on here. Piranha Monkeys, 2 power, 0 armor. When you play or reap, you deal 2 damage to each other creature. Yes, that does include your own. Be very careful with Piranha Monkeys. Tantadlin is a 9 power, 0 armor creature that only deals 2 damage when it fights. And when you fight, you discard a random card from your opponent's archives. So if your opponent's trying to build an archiving deck, Tantadlin is a good counter. Speaking of good counters, Rustnora, the final card we need to talk about. And essentially, it's a 4 power, 0 armor creature. And when you fight, you get to destroy an opponent's artifact. And if it had an amber bonus, you get that much amber. It is really nice because if you don't have any other artifact control, and as a side note here, there is no other artifact control, this is a really nice way of controlling artifacts. It's not perfect, and you give your opponent a turn to try and destroy it before you actually get to use it to get rid of an artifact, but it is very literally better than nothing. This is a good deck. This is a really good deck. The lovely folks over at decksofkeyforge.com have given it a 74% SAS, putting it in the top 2% of decks. And I know that that's not a perfect judge, but it ain't bad, ladies and gentlemen. It ain't bad at all. And it's not just about the rating. We've just talked through this deck, and hopefully I've convinced you that it's not just a rating. It is actually a very, very nice deck indeed. Congratulations to Laura for her victory, and for piloting an awesome deck in a very awesome way. But now I'd like to know what you think about this deck. Is it something that you're buying? Is it something you think is fantastic? Or do you think it's not going to be quite as good as it could be? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk Keyforge and a bunch of other games, and do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can get weekly bonus pods, support the channel, tell me what videos to make. There's lots of fun to be had over there. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.